Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. Boy, this has been a fun week. This has been a fun week. Of course, we had an election. We had GDP, and we also had a recovery. So we got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Lots of news. We're gonna get to it all, of course, as we move along. As we move along, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Also, first weekend of May. Can you guys believe it? May is here already, and hopefully, hopefully it means that we're going to start getting some better weather. So that's one of the things that I'm hoping for. All right, let's very quickly. We'll just jump in and catch up with the chat. Jonathan is in here. Am I late for a Trump Carney? How to help you with that? Hello. Alexa is jumping in on the action as well. Jonathan says, "Am I late for a Trump Carney Royal Rumble?" No, that's Tuesday. Sure how to help you with that is Tuesday. So Tuesday we will get our Trump Carney Royal Rumble, and that could be interesting for sure. Bismarcky says, "Happy Sunday, everyone." And yeah, Larry's pulling it out early. The Berkshire meeting was monumental. Been schmoozing all week. So yes, those of you who perhaps haven't looked at all at social media on the weekend, well, Warren Buffett, he has decided to retire at the end of this year. So it's come to an end. Warren Buffett. Now he's like 94. So I think it's okay for him to retire. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting for sure. I remember what I said, and this is probably a better thing. I think we were talking about this on, was it Wednesday? On Wednesday, we're talking about it, and I was mentioning that he's getting up there. This could be his last opportunity to impart a bunch of wisdom. And if he's retiring, then it looks like that is exactly what happened. What happened for sure. So if you've not yet had a chance to read, read up on his wisdom from the weekend, absolutely do it. It may be the last time. King of Day says, "Hello, everyone." And we got Rory. Let's see. "Good afternoon. Just filing through BMO ETFs, looking at ZLB for low volatility addition." Absolutely. There's a whole bunch of brand new ETFs that came out, guys. In fact, the next video, Tuesday, Monday for the channel members, I'm going to take a look at some of them. There's 9. I'm going to look at 9 of them. Now, I will point out with this video, I'm not going to look at any of the crypto ones because I think the crypto ones should get their own video. So I don't know if it'll be next week. It'll be within the next 2 weeks. We'll see a crypto one as well. So yeah, gotta love it. You gotta love it. Bismarcky says, "My money is on Carney." Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, they should have a dance off. Have you guys seen Carney dancing? Holy banana bread. I think he could outdance Trump. I mean, Trump has his one little YMCA move type thing. So yeah, absolutely. Larry says, "I'm in Omaha till Tuesday." Nice. Yes, good old. Every time I hear Omaha, I always think of Mutual of Omaha, Wild Kingdom. I don't know about you guys, but back when I was a kid, they used to always have them wildlife specials on the weekend. So loved those for sure. A Sasha says, "Hi, Candace." Well, hello, A. Good to see you. Rory says, "Gonna miss Warren. Go live your life, old man." Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, it's kind of interesting though. I heard somebody say the other day that some people, when they retire, it kind of spells the end because everything they had to live for was what they were doing, their passion, their job. Then they retire, and it's like they kind of lose their will because they're no longer involved in their passion. But I don't think that'll be the case. I hope Warren makes it past 100. That's my goal. That's my hope. That's my hope for Warren Buffett. Bismarcky says, does Warren have enough money to retire? I'm gonna say he might. He's probably scrimping and saving for the rest of the year. That's probably why he's given such a long headwind on that retirement. Bill says, I don't think he'll live for too much after he retires. I think BRK is what keeps him going. That's exactly what I was just saying. Yeah. And I hope we're both wrong. I hope we're both wrong. But that was the thought that I had. MC in the house with a happy sunny Sunday. Yeah, it's nice out here. Now I believe MC, you're in Montreal if I'm correct. I'm in Ottawa. We're not that far away, so a lot of times, we're getting the same weather, or sometimes, we're an hour behind you. We get the weather, then an hour later you get it. So pretty cool. Let's see. King a Day says, found out that Greg Abel is from Edmonton. That's interesting. Absolutely. Let's see. Charlie Munger was hilarious. Funny jokes about crypto. Yes, absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, these guys, the two of them were always characters. So yeah, I will definitely, I mean, I miss Charlie Munger. I'll definitely miss Warren Buffett when his days are done. Let's see. BCE fell last week. Do you think there is further room to fall with concerns on free cash flow? Every time, and I've said this before, every time I think Bell has hit the bottom, and I don't think they can fall any further, they go out and buy a new shovel. Every single time. So, yeah. I'm hoping to see some movement to the upside with telecommunications, but it's been a struggle. So I want to see. I think I want to see signs that they are moving up. Now I'm still dollar cost averaging into BCE at this point in time. Like, I still think long term, I think they're going to be fine, but this struggle is definitely hard. It's hard to watch. Rory says, if Warren can't retire, what about us? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think I don't even think I don't even think I could entertain the thought of retirement, but it depends. I look at it this way. When I retire, to me, retirement looks like, instead of 2 videos a week, I might go down to 1. That to me would be retirement. MC says, yep, Montreal. There we go. Yeah, absolutely. And Montreal, one of my favorite cities. I love Montreal. It's a fantastic city. Let's see, BCE, they're digging all the way to China. Oh boy. They might be. Absolutely. All right. Let's get our first news story in. So we had GDP reports, both for Canada and the United States. They dropped on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, Canada, basically, we have our month over month. So for February, our GDP, it was in the negative. It was basically negative 0.2%. They had estimated it to come in completely flat at 0. So it actually did a little bit worse than they were anticipating. Now, good news is, GDP-wise, is that the preliminary for March is looking a little bit stronger. It's actually looking like we might come in at 0.1%, but it's dicey. It's dicey. Now, they were forecasting March to come in at negative 0.6%. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's really, really interesting. Now, right now, our Q1, it's still looking like it's going to come in pretty strong at 1.5% in total. But I have a feeling Q2 may be a very, very different story. Now, both goods and service industries, they both contracted in February, so there was definitely a lot of contraction. Mining, oil and gas, construction sectors, those were the big shrinkers. They shrunk the most. Yeah, not good. It wasn't a great GDP, but Now let's look at the United States because their GDP for Q1 dropped on Wednesday and it sunk the market. So if you remember that big red day we had on Wednesday, yeah, it was GDP driven. So in a surprise, Q1 GDP in the United States negative 0.3%. Now they were forecasting it to go down quite a bit, and they thought it was only going to go down to 0.4%. They weren't expecting it to go into the negative. So not great, not great at all. Now the economy's decline. Basically, they're saying that this decline that the U.S. experienced is pretty much driven by wider trade deficits. So, and I believe Bill was mentioning this in a comment as well. A lot of companies front ending their imports, so they're basically they're purchasing like crazy to get stuff in before those tariffs took effect. And well, that's part of the formula when you're looking at GDP. So, in a sense, these imports pushed it into the negative. So you have to look at that. You do have to take that into consideration. Um, of course, this is Trump's GDP. He caused it because he caused the tariffs. So hence the reason I've got Trump in the picture there with all of those shipping containers. Now, here's an interesting thing. So, when we think about, oh my God, the U.S. has one negative GDP. Are they going to get that second one? And are they going into a recession in 3 months? Well, it's not quite so simple. One, we're not going to have as much of that all of those imports are going to cut back quite a bit because people have already done, they've done the deed. They've already backfilled all of their stuff that they need. The tariffs are in place. So that's going to pull back. So that might help push that GDP up. But the other thing, and this is kind of an interesting thing, are the U.S. jobs. So the U.S. also had a job report that came out on Friday. So yeah, what's that, 2 days ago? And the jobs are looking good. Their unemployment is steady at 4.2%. So there was no change. And well, they added 177,000 jobs. So yeah, right now, the U.S. job market, it's doing okay. It's doing okay. There's nothing to worry about that. And that, I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to say that their GDP in Q2 will probably edge up above that zero line. So we probably are not going to get a recession quite as early as everybody feared. And that was it. There was that fear of a recession that caused that Wednesday market. Holy banana bread. It was not great. Time for some coffee here. Love the coffee. Love the coffee. Rory comes in. CN. So CNR had a good quarter. Liked seeing that. It might be the last one we see for a bit. It's hard to say. Like, yes, CN, because when you look at the entire rail system and the backbone position they hold within that, they're going to be impacted somewhat by the tariffs, of course, because less stuff is going to be moving. But you got to remember, that's not their only game. They've also got all of their domestic, and they've got domestic within the U.S. as well. That's not going to be impacted. And if Carney keeps his word and starts opening up more and more of our minerals, especially the minerals in the north, well, CNR pretty much has an exclusive on that. And that's not bad for them. So, they will have some impact. Absolutely. There's going to be collateral damage from the tariffs, and some of their cross-border stuff is, will be impacted. No ands, ifs, or buts. But I still think they'll be fine. They may be in the red, but you're not going to see them going down like 20-25%, especially, when we do head into a bear market. That's just not going to happen with them. They are recession proof for a reason. And I think they're going to be fine. I think they will absolutely be fine. Jersky says, happy Sunday. Hello, Jersky. Good to see you. CP, yeah. And I think CP is sort of in a similar boat with CNR. What the one disadvantage that CP has is that they don't really have a lot of access to the Canadian North. So, that thing I was talking about with CNR being able to take advantage of us opening up our minerals, that isn't going to apply to CP as much. So I still think CP is recession proof. I still think they'll do fine in the long term, but I think CNR might have a very slight edge this time around when it comes to both of these. Oh dear, what can I say? What can I say? But the news must go on. So there's definitely that. Oh, Alberta, good old Alberta, you have taken our number 2 spot in the news, and I've seen a lot of it in chat. I've seen a lot of people saying, well, if the Liberals win the election, Alberta's running away. We're gonna separate. I've heard it, and it's been in the news. It has been in the news. Now, right now, with the Liberals taking power again, believe it or not, the last poll in Alberta, basically they're saying about 30% of Albertans are thinking, yeah, it's not a bad idea. Maybe we should break up with Canada. So we'll have to see how that's all going to work. And interestingly enough, Danielle Smith was being interviewed, and she says, well, as long as Carney, respects Alberta, we shouldn't be looking at any kind of separating. However, she did make an interesting move at the same time. So she did propose a new bill that would make it easier for Albertans to trigger referendums in the province. So in a nutshell, what this new bill does is, it reduces the number of signatures you need to get a referendum started. So basically, before this bill, you needed, you take the number of eligible voters in Alberta, and you needed 20% of that number. That's how many signatures you would need to trigger a referendum. She's cut that number in half. Now you only need 10% instead of 20%. So she cut that. She's made it easier to get a referendum going. Now, when you think 10% of eligible voters in Alberta, how many is that? That's roughly 410,000. So you would need a petition of 410,000 people saying, we want a referendum on, leaving Canada. And if, that happens, then yeah, it becomes an official referendum. Now, mind you, even if you had a referendum and if you did manage to pass, it's not an instant leave Canada. It's not a get out of Canada free card. There's still a whole bunch of stuff that has to happen. So a referendum doesn't necessarily mean that you're gone, but it is the first step. It is the first step. So we'll have to see how this all works out. Personally, I'm hoping that Carney keeps true to what we need to see. And one of them, there's actually a couple of things that Danielle Smith said are kind of no-brainers that have to be done. One is that pipeline, that west-east pipeline. Absolutely. We need it. No doubt about it. We got to be able to sell that oil. Now, the second thing that she wants is emission caps. She wants those to be removed. So those are the two things. Let's at least get on the pipeline. I think if you get on the pipeline first, that'll make the Alberta Premier a little more happy for sure. Honestly, I don't think, and I keep saying it, I don't think we're going to see Alberta separate. Honestly, I don't. Um, I think if anything, I think it'll be one of these moments. I think a defining moment for Canada, where I think we have to reevaluate a lot of stuff, and I'm hoping the government's going to do it. I'm hoping the government's going to do it, and I'll give them a hard time. I'm going to give them a hard time as we, as we move along. As we move along. All right. Larry says Berkshire now has $345 billion in cash, $267 billion in stocks, then Geico with another $300 billion in float. If you count all of their liquid in companies, there's over $1.1 trillion, another $1.5 trillion in hard assets. Market cap $1.16 trillion. Nice. Yeah. And that was it was interesting too. One of the things that Warren Buffett was talking about is he was talking a lot about the tariffs on the weekend and how President Trump is doing it wrong. He's making some mistakes, and Warren was calling him out on them, calling him out for sure, absolutely. A says, what do you think about the healthcare sector? Do you think it will down during Trump tenure? Harvest Health ETF, I assume mostly U.S. is down over 10% in the last 2 months. So healthcare is interesting. When you look at the U.S. side, obviously, one of the impacts that healthcare is going to have is, of course, well, a guy by the name of RFK Jr. Now, you can look at it from two different perspectives, though. If he does a lot of boneheaded stuff that gets Americans sicker, they may have to start reversing course on some of their healthcare cuts. They may have to, but nonetheless, I think there's going to be chaos in the healthcare sector. It's not a sector I would put in my hold forever stock list at this point in time, because I think there's going to be a lot of chaos. There might be opportunities. Now, there are some really good companies, and I know Pfizer. Pfizer is not a bad company at all. So there's a lot of companies I think that you'll probably have some good opportunities for. But if you're looking for growth anytime soon, that may not be the best. May not be the best place to look for it. I think there's a lot better areas, better sectors for sure. Bismarck says maybe the Conservatives should have run a better candidate. Interesting thought there. Now, we, of course, and I guess this is kind of taking us into the news from the Hill. I think this is the last week we're going to do news from the Hill. I think they'll just fall into regular stories next week. But let's actually, yeah, we've got a graphic. We got Carney there on Canada's Got Talent doing his dance moves. And I think that was the first thing he did after he won the election. Is he did some dancing. So yeah, obviously, you got to look at a couple of factors when it comes to this election. Pierre Poilievre, he improved. He improved their numbers. They have more seats. He actually had a higher popular vote than Stephen Harper did. And, when Stephen won. So this was just a situation where, I think it was a little out of his control. Now, popularity-wise, yes, Poilievre is not the most popular guy. He rubs a lot of people the wrong way, for sure. And, but right now, the party seems to be happy with him. So he will be coming back. Now, he won't actually make it to Parliament. He has to run a by-election. And there is one of the MPs, newly elected MPs. Well, not really newly. But re-elected MPs has given up his seat. Where is it? Crowfoot. So we'll have an election. Now, Carney did say that he would not play any games. He would let that by-election happen as fast as it can. So pretty much what that means is you probably won't see Poilievre in the House of Commons until probably the fall. Because, you've got to run an election. You got to run an election. You can't just sort of have an election tomorrow, bang, boom. So you actually have to run it. So we'll have to see how that works out. But the thing with that riding is the last election, the Conservatives took in about 80% of the vote. So it's a very, very safe riding. So we'll have Pierre back in the House for sure. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Now, I did watch Carney's speech that he gave. I believe it was Friday, and he started laying out a lot of the things in the platform and how he was going to start moving on them. That was good to hear. I was glad to hear. It's like, okay, yeah, if you're going to get voted on a platform, let's hold you accountable to it. But that big test is, and we talked about this earlier, Tuesday, he will be at the White House. And here's the thing. Yeah, Trump seems to like him. But Trump really likes putting world leaders in incredibly awkward situations when it comes to his little meetings at the Rose Garden. So this could be interesting. And it'll be very interesting to see how Carney reacts to whatever craziness Trump decides to throw at him. And there will be some. Trump is, even today, Trump has said he still thinks Canada should be the 51st state. And there was some very interesting conversation about using the military. Now, spoiler alert, I don't want to leave it there. Trump did say that he doesn't think the military will be necessary in regards to Canada, but yeah, it's fun. We'll have to see how this meeting goes on Tuesday. I'm hoping it goes well. I'm hoping it goes better than expected. That will be my hope. My hope is that it goes better than expected. We'll see. Ian says, had that conversation about Alberta leaving with my dad today. I said it would crash the economy and be very bad for Alberta short term. He did not agree. Yeah, I mean, and I think Alberta's looking at it this way. Alberta's like, we got the oil. We got all the money. We're pretty much paying transfer payments to everybody else. What are we getting out of the deal? That's kind of part of the stance with Alberta. So the problem is, though, you got the oil, but you'll lose. You will lose. Like, let's say, for example, Alberta separated. Technically, BC could charge a big fee to transport any oil through the Trans Mountain pipeline. So and then they got the tariffs from the states. Now, the states will probably be. Okay, it'd be interesting. I think the U.S. would look at it and say, okay, Alberta, let's make them the 51st state. And then, is that going to happen? I mean, will Alberta even be able to stay neutral? To me, it's interesting. I think if Alberta separates, I think the next step is becoming a state at that point. That's what I think. But I could be completely wrong. I mean, maybe Alberta wants to stay completely independent. We'll have to see. Because otherwise it's just, you're trading one master for another if you go from Canada to the United States that way. Because, there's no way Trump wouldn't pick at those resources for the rest of America. That's for sure. So we got to see. We got to see how this is all going to work out. It could be very interesting. But also keep in mind, there's separation talk as well in Saskatchewan. So, Alberta could be a domino if it ever went that far. I don't think it is going to go that far. But if it went that far, it could certainly be a domino. And you could end up seeing a situation where pretty much all that will be left of Canada will be Quebec, Ontario, and well, some of the Maritimes. New Brunswick could probably, New Brunswick might go. Who knows? Oh boy. Oh, it could be interesting. It could be interesting. Ian says, can't have the West hate the East anymore. It's hard on the country. Yeah. And this is the thing. I mean, if we're going to stay together, I think we need to really, foster the patriotism and really take it to the next level. So we'll see. We'll see how this is all gonna roll out. It's gonna be fun. Michael says, hello, Candace. As a French-Canadian Federalist, I am delighted the King will soon be visiting Canada. Clear message to Trump and the Quebec and Alberta separatists. So yes, the King, so King Charles, he's going to be reading the throne speech at the end of May when Parliament reconvenes. So, and apparently the King is very excited about this. And I kind of think it's neat. I do kind of think it's neat. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. We'll see what Trump says about it. That could be funny. Larry says, yeah, healthcare down, Regeneron down from 1,200 to 1,530. Even United Health that oversees Obamacare is 30% down, and that's a racket. Yeah. And Rory says, Pierre has a seat in Crowfoot. He's not going anywhere yet. Trump Carney bromance. One is pro-oil, one is against. Yeah, we'll have to sort of see. Now, here's another thing, and I've talked about this. I haven't heard anything official yet, but I would very much like to see somebody from a non-liberal in Carney's cabinet. I just would like to see it. I really, really would. Just because if we want to sort of have across, the aisle, if we want to across the aisle friendship, everybody working together to deal with the situation with the tariffs and with the United States, to me, that's the perfect time to do this. I mean, it has been done before in the past during wartime. But I think it's time. I think it's time to see that. I would like to see, I would say, and I would even say a conservative, because that would be the way to really try to mend fences a little bit. Now, another thing too is because this is a new session of the House, we're gonna need a new Speaker of the House. And I've heard an interesting idea the other day. Someone was suggesting the perfect person for it is the one member of the Green Party, Elizabeth May. So that could be interesting. I don't know. I don't think the Liberals are going to put a Liberal in. I think they need all of their seats. When they get that minority, you need all of your seats. So you can't afford to lose anybody. So, and I don't see them putting in a conservative. So and I also don't see them putting in somebody from the bloc. So it's either pretty much narrows it down to 8 people. I think we have 8 potential people for Speaker of the House. So, either one of the 7 NDP or Elizabeth May. Let's see what happens. I don't know. She might do it. Bismarcky says, I heard that the MP in Crowfoot will not get his pension now. Pierre should wait until October, then let the member step down. Just shows me Pierre cares about Pierre. Now that member did say that in the next election, he's going to rerun in his riding. So he probably will get his pension because this guy is pretty darn popular. So, and I'm sure he's considering that. Like Pierre's only, borrowing his riding for now. All right. David says, Trump likes Carney because he knows that the West will separate and Canada will dissolve, and that wouldn't be the case with Pierre. So Liberals with TDS have been set up, and fear was the tool. Interesting thought. Yeah, maybe, maybe. I don't. This is the thing. I don't know what goes on in Trump's head. Now, a lot of people thought that Trump was for Carney because he figured that Carney would be easier to get what he wants with. So we'll have to see. I honestly still don't think. I don't think we're going to have a separation. I really, really don't think so. King of Day says, if you can't win your own seat as the party leader, doesn't that mean you're really terrible at your job? Your own house doesn't even like you. Just saying. It does happen. Actually, Brian Mulroney, one of his first elections, he lost his seat, and he had to run in a by-election to get in, and he was the leader. And then he went on to be prime minister after that. So it does happen. It does happen. A says the U.S. would probably just take the entire Alberta assets and give little to Albertans. If Carney builds a pipeline, it can be used as a tool to never go back to separation. Yeah, no, the pipeline I think I think that's a big deal. It has to happen. It absolutely has to happen. Because yeah, I mean, if you don't give Alberta something, that 30% of people who think separation is a good idea, that number will grow. That number will grow, absolutely. Bill says Alberta 51 bought a hat with that logo almost 3 years ago. Interesting. Larry says, we'll see what UK says about Canada's statehood. Will His Majesty allow interference in his realms? Yeah. And it's funny, like it was about a month ago, I think, that, what was it? Trump actually came out and said that he thought America should join the Commonwealth. So what can I say? What can I say? Let's see. David says Carney is a globalist like JT, and they don't work for Canadians. Well, he's definitely connected, that's for sure. Chucky was about as much power as the UK, a fallen state. All right. And let's see here. Mountain of Inspiration says, terrible at your job? Not necessarily. Yeah, it's a situation where, you got to look at two. There was a lot of craziness going on in the Carleton riding as well. So one of these groups that was trying to make a point about what was it, representation. So basically voter reform. They ran 91 candidates in that riding. So it was crazy. So there was a lot of craziness on that in that riding. So I'm not I'm not saying that he would have won if that didn't happen. I'm not saying that even remotely, but I'm just saying there was a lot of craziness there. All right. Bismarcky says, shouldn't the people in your own riding know best? Let's see. We have Alberta McDavid. What more don't they want? There we go. Let's see. Give Albertans and Quebecois what they want. Keep everyone happy so we can remain united. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, Quebec, like the whole idea of Quebec separation, I think that's gone. It really, it got close. It got close at one point, but I think for the most part, I think Quebec is a little bit more happy. Are they perfectly happy? No. But they're there now. Alberta, I think right now they're kind of, well, Alberta's like the new Quebec in that way. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Let's see. We gave Alberta McDavid. What more does Alberta want? Right. Yes, the Oilers. So a Stanley Cup in Edmonton, not on Bettman's watch. Yeah. Well, we still have some Canadian teams left. Who do we got left? We got Toronto, Edmonton, and Winnipeg. I think those are it. But I'll be cheering for all of them. Except one. I'll be cheering for all except one. Bill says, never heard anyone talking about Alberta separation 2 years ago. Now it's everywhere, even on this channel. This are moving in the right direction much faster than I could have hoped for. Things are moving in the right direction. Yeah, it's It's a big topic now. It's definitely a big topic. What can I say? What can I say? I still hope it does not happen, but you know, now our trade war front lines. Um, we got a couple of things in here that we haven't already talked about, but yeah. So one thing, the Canadian dollar. The Canadian dollar has had a good end of the week. Basically, this is all about that meeting between Trump and Carney. So it has excited it has excited folks a little bit, and that has, well, it sent the Canadian dollar to a new 6-month high. And April has actually been the loonies' best month in about 10 years. So you gotta say, a month ago in March, it did not look like we were going to have a good month in April. That's for sure. Now, auto tariffs, they have. There's been a small little silver lining that's popped up for them, a reprieve. So Trump has signed a new executive order to prevent other tariffs. So, for example, like the ones on steel and aluminum from stacking. So, whatever the auto tariffs are, nothing's going to stack on them. It'll just be that number. So, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, an extra 25% all of a sudden because of steel and aluminum tariffs wouldn't be good. But at the same time, it's hard. Once steel and aluminum is moving across and it's been tariffed, how are you going to keep that isolated from the auto parts? It's going to be difficult. I think it's going to be a nightmare, but we will definitely have to see how that's going to happen. Now they are still going to move ahead with the auto tariffs, but they said that, and they were kind of vague on this. The White House did say that there would be some options for reimbursements. So we'll have to see what that actually works out to be. I don't know. I have no clue what they're doing. But we'll see. We'll see what they're gonna do. It could be interesting. It could definitely be interesting. Rory's saying a good time to buy USD. It might be. It might be. I mean, while the Canadian dollar is strong, it's probably a good time if you want to convert over to USD for sure. So that's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. All right. Now we got a story about Canadian Tire. Now this guy here is a fur trader, by the way. So Canadian Tire, they've put up, they basically come up with an offer. They want to buy the intellectual property from the Bay. So they're basically looking to get their hands on all of the copyrights for those iconic stripes and some of their logos. Right now, at this point, it's kind of unclear what exactly Canadian Tire wants in total. They're not sure whether or not they actually want some of the retail locations as well. But thoughts are they could. They do have an extra $1.3 billion sitting around because they had to, well, they sold the Helly Hansen brand. So they've got the money if they wanted some. But what most people are thinking, most retail experts are thinking Canadian Tire is going to, they're going to use the Bay's patented stripes to develop their own in-store product line. Now, some of the Hudson Bay's trademarks, they could make for a sort of a nice sort of private label edition to Canadian Tire's control brand edition. So it could be really, really interesting. And they might even open up little Hudson Bay Company sections within Canadian Tires. So that way there they could sell the Hudson's Bay products or embed some of the brand names into different categories within the store. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Hudson Bay, even though they're dead, they may not be fully dead if Canadian Tire has their way. I kind of like the idea. Now there are a couple of other people out there who are looking to to buy as well. I think there's a business guy in Vancouver who wants to buy a bunch of the stores. So it'll be very interesting to see how this is all going to come out. I kind of hope Canadian Tire gets that brand. I like Canadian Tire. I think that would be good. I think that would be good for them. All right. Larry says, since we're on cars, the Tesla robotaxi is coming for sure in June. Ooh, interesting. That could be very, very interesting. I can't wait to sort of see if it takes off. I mean, this could be a huge thing for Tesla. This could be the thing to rebound them from some of the current woes that they're currently facing. Also, with Elon stepping away from Doge in May, that's also a good thing. The temperatures of people can start to come back down, because one of the things I think Tesla wants is for people to be able to drive a Tesla without it getting hit with a tomato, or a tomato, depending on how you say it. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. A says, even if we have a new deal, don't we need to diversify to avoid similar situation in the future? Don't you think? Oh yeah. So here's the thing. Let's say that Carney goes down on Tuesday, and Trump says, yeah, let's just go back to the way it was. We'll get rid of all the tariffs. That's not going to happen. But let's just say it did. Well, the worst thing that Carney and the liberals could do is come back home and say, okay, it's all worked out. We don't have to do anything now. And that's the thing. I think this is a wake-up call. Whether or not we get deals with the U.S., whether or not we can, back up, we got to be processing our own minerals. We got to be pulling minerals out of the ground. We got to get rid of the red tape. If I want to start a mine, I don't want to start my application process and then break ground 17 years later. That's absolutely ridiculous. So we need to get rid of the red tape. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing environmental studies, but you don't need to do a billion of them. Like, quite literally, there's no reason why the studies that need to be done to open up a new mine can't be done in a year, 2 years max. Let's get rid of that red tape. Let's get the minerals out of the ground. Let's get our pipeline going. Even if we get a resolution with Trump, who cares? He's already shown a vulnerability in Canada, and we can fix it. It's fixable. And the beautiful thing is, and this is the beautiful thing, like, I know right now, one of the things that Carney gets is a lot of guff in terms of how much all this stuff that you're saying you're going to spend, how much is that going to cost? Where are we going to get that money from? And his reply is, well, we're going to be focusing on the economy, on boosting the economy. Well, how do you boost the economy? You get the minerals out of the ground. You get a pipeline going. You get rid of the interprovincial trade barriers, and that already that's well on the way, that part. But yeah, that's how you get that money. That's how you get the economy going. And quite literally, if we had to take on a whole bunch more debt, national debt, if we had to take on a lot more national debt to make a reality like the pipeline, because that's going to cost billions, like a lot of billions, not just a little billion, a lot of billions. I would be okay with that, because on the back end of this, there's going to be prosperity for Canada. It's not like Trump saying, oh, these tariffs is going to make America rich. Most economists are completely disagreeing with that. But in the case of Canada, us opening up our resources, us actually, and not just opening it up, let's process the resources here. Because you know what? If we process the resources, we can sell them for more. We can make bigger profits. So that's what I want to see. I don't want to see any of this. And quite literally, if there's no movement on any of that, there's no way the liberals will do well in the next election. Let's get this done. Let's get it done. Let's do whatever it needs. Do whatever it needs. Let's get it done. Canada should be an economic superpower. We have so much in our ground. Let's make it happen. Let's be a rich country. Why not? All right. Larry says production has started on them. Going back to the robo taxis. Nice. I like the whole idea, the whole concept for sure. Cowboy has joined the house. Hello, Cowboy. Good to see you. Paul says, good afternoon. Cowboy, if you want things done, the World Economic Forum is not who you want in charge. I know that the World Economic, WEF, they get a lot of grief. It was actually interesting. I watched a video on YouTube yesterday, and it was a history video saying, where did the U.S. go wrong? And they kind of narrowed it down to 1971 was the beginning of it, of the end per se. And it was going off the gold standard. So that's what this video had narrowed down, is that when Nixon went off the gold standard in 71, that kind of changed everything. Because before then, however much money you had in your country, you had an equivalent amount of gold. So you could back your dollars with gold. After that, dollars became, well, they're not backed by anything. And that is how you can create a whole bunch of extra dollars, because you don't have to have anything. Whereas before, you had to have the gold. So that is what this video, and it gave a whole bunch of things. And it talked a little bit about the World Economic Forum as well. And how, the going off the gold standard led to a whole bunch of different things. So it's and it's not something like, it's not like you can even go back onto the gold standard, not without, first of all, getting a whole bunch of gold. So what can we say? Anyway, Cowboy says, you do not want the government in charge of infrastructure, then it can become a social agenda. The government shouldn't be in charge. What the government needs to do is they can invest in the infrastructure, and more importantly, and this is the most important part, remove the red tape. Let the construction happen, whether it be pipelines, whether it be refineries, whether it be, heck, even building houses. Get the government's red tape out of there. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's see, like the CBC, anyone alive during the ending of the gold standard, did the government confiscate gold? There has been, this is one of the things I actually, it was in the video that I was watching. I did not know that before, when they were on the gold standard, you pretty much couldn't invest in gold. And gold was kind of a rarity. Like, you were allowed to have gold for jewelry, things like that. So I was just like, oh, wow. But now you can actually, you can go buy your own gold bars now. It's, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, it is. And I think at one point there have been, now this I'm not 100% sure on. So I do think there was some kind of a program where they wanted you to turn in your gold. But I don't know if that was mandatory or not. It might have been, but I don't know. So I won't say that it was, because I don't know. Rory says, I wonder if Fort Knox has anything in it. It does. It does. I know I've seen things recently, some tours. I think I saw something where somebody did some kind of a tour of Fort Knox, and there was gold in it at that time. Now, as far as I know, maybe it was all fool's gold. I don't know, but there's as far as I know, there's gold in there. Let's see. Do you think we will have another pullback in the market? Well, yeah, of course we're going to have more pullbacks, but do I think the markets? I don't think we're on a trajectory to go straight into a recession fast. I think it'll be a slow move. Like, quite literally, I'm thinking recession wise. So, and I'm also thinking bear market wise. I still don't see it in the first half of the year, and technically with Canada, I mean, if the GDP numbers do come out at 1.5 in Q1, then the earliest we could even have a technical recession would be, well, the end of Q3. So, just before Christmas. That'd be a perfect time for a recession. But I'm hoping, I mean, I'm hoping that Trump kind of comes to his senses, but uh, it's, I don't have a lot of faith in that. I'm hoping, but I don't have a lot of faith. So I will sort of put it that way. So yeah, there's going to be, obviously, as more things happen in the economy, it's probably going to be a lot like it is now. Like something happens and we get a big drop, and then we get a bit of a recovery afterwards. So that's how I see us moving there. I don't see us as having a giant bang, bang, bang. We're in a recession or we're in a bear market. I think it's going to be big drop, recovery, big drop, recovery, big drop, recovery. But as you chart those, it's going to be a slight line going down towards that bear market. It'll happen. It will happen, but it really depends. Like there's so many things happening. Another issue as well is well, we got a lot of China not sending stuff. So because of the tariffs, and especially the tariffs between the United States and China, that's going to hit them big time where it hurts in the supply chain, and that will cause inflation. It's going to be very interesting to see how everything responds. And the other thing too is we could get to a point of I don't want to say complacency, but we could get to a point that things just are so crazy that the crazy starts to feel normal. And if that happens, that could stabilize the market a little bit. So it could be very interesting. Get Rich says, I am in the process of building up my cash position again to take advantage of when it comes around. Yeah, absolutely. That is something that I have been doing as well. I take a portion of each month and that goes into the cash position. So, yeah, it never hurts because then when we do get there, yeah, you'll have a situation where you'll have that cash to be able to take advantage of some of the sales that'll happen for sure. Let's see. Roy says, I hope so. I have a limit order dip buy for XEQT. Nice, nice. Well, maybe. Cowboy says, Trudeau did all of the. Oh, Trudeau. I was like, what? What's Trudeau? All right. Trudeau did all of the red tape. The same idiots with a new coach is what you have now. No change is policy. C69 is in full gear. So in carbon taxes. Yeah, I think there needs to be a lot of things. I'd love to see the Liberals sort of sit back and just reevaluate everything, figure out what we need. Let's get things done. That's what I want to see. I want to see things get done. Larry says foreclosure company ASPS had the best quarter since. Oh yes, and we've looked at this before. I love this. I love this, and I mean, I love it in the sense that hey, you're using your brain to find a great company. It sucks that people are getting hurt and that there's a lot of foreclosures happening and all of that fun stuff. But as investors, sometimes you have to look at the companies that are doing well. Even when people are, unfortunately people are being hurt. Let's see. So they went from making 640 million to 25 million now, making 180 mega cap with 1 billion, dropped to 32 million now, 100 million. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, exactly what I was saying there a little while ago. Supply chain. We got some supply chain issues. Well, the US more than us, we can still order all of that stuff from China. In fact, we have an issue, and we talked about this last week, where a lot of our warehouses are being filled up with Chinese products. So a lot of companies, for example, Walmart is having all of this China stuff shipped over to Canada, put into our warehouses so that they can just sit on it and wait for the situation to improve, and then they can ship it down across the border when they're able to. So, that's going to create a storage. We could have a storage crisis in Canada. China Tire. There we go. Whoops. Hit the like button. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna have some coffee since I don't think Mary's here today, but yeah, absolutely. Hit the like button, folks. So good. Let's see. Liberals running against Trump instead of real long-term issues, and liberals stealing conservative ideas. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though, and I'm going to put it this way, Paul. So when Carney got in, he basically, yeah, sure, he did steal some of the conservative ideas. Nothing wrong with it. You know what? If a conservative has a good idea, and a liberal steals it, I'm like, oh my God, that's a good thing. That it's not a bad thing. What did hurt though is that Pierre, he had his he kind of had been building towards this election for a long time. He had been building it all around a carbon tax election. And Carney did if you think about it, what Carney did was brilliant. He came in, he repealed the carbon tax immediately. And, that took the wind out of Pierre's sail. And unfortunately, he had to adjust on the fly. And here's the reality, though. When we look at the election, Pierre didn't do well in the first half of the election at all. But the conservatives in the second half of the election, and you guys remember we were looking through the poll tracker, not at the polls, but at the movement, the trends. And there was a clear trend upward for the conservatives in the last half of that election. And if that election hadn't been one of the shortest in history, like if it had gone another week of campaigning, I think the conservatives probably would have had a few more seats in there. I don't know if it would have been enough to get to prevent the minority that happened with the liberals, but it might have been a smaller minority. It may have been, maybe five, maybe another 5 seats would have went to the conservatives at that point. Because that was definitely an interesting thing anyway. A says, will things get cheaper for us if they are storing everything in Canada? I don't think things are going to get cheaper for us, but it's hard to say. I mean, China right now, you got to look at it. Like for one, like China just made a deal with Canada to get some of our oil, because they're like, we're not going to get that oil from the U.S. anymore. We're going to get it from Canada instead. It's not a bad thing. But at the same time, the problem is cooperation. Sometimes cooperation with China comes with conditions. And, because China earlier had wanted to do a free trade with Canada. And the conditions on that were that Canada had to completely remove all of the investment restrictions on China. So China could pretty much have free reign of their investments within Canada. And that was kind of a big deal breaker. So that wasn't going to happen. But we'll see. We'll have to see. We'll see where that goes. Paul says, if Alberta left Canada, how much would federal taxes go up? That's a good question. Probably a good amount. Now, mind you, if Alberta did, Ontario's Ring of Fire, we would be exploiting that big time. We would have to. We'd have to make up for all of that oil money that is no longer flowing into the Canadian GDP. So it could be very interesting. So if Alberta left Canada, TMX would be operating in a foreign country until it hits BC. That's what I mean. There would be. The thing is, once again, if we get to the referendum and let's say Albertans voted in favor of leaving Canada, you're probably looking at a good decade of meetings and things that would have to be worked out. Like quite literally, you got to work out every single aspect, including even the pipeline. I mean, you'd have to work out, how that's going to work. There'd be a crazy amount of stuff. So, if you're pro separation and you're thinking, okay, let's get that referendum, we'll be free. You'll be free eventually. That's that would be the more appropriate words, but I really don't think it's going to happen. Paul says the new WEF leader is even worse than the old one. All right. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Cowboy says we have an issue selling to China. The Liberals put a tariff on Chinese EV to protect Canadian EV market. We don't even have. Now we lost billions of dollars in the West to support non-existent market. Yeah. Well, I mean, part of the EV thing is, I mean, we did justify to say we're protecting our market, but at the same time, this was once again us following suit with the US. Back when we used to be friends, all of that fun stuff. JJ is in the house with a howdy. And Larry says, I'm worried about an Iran attack now that we threatened anybody that buys their oil, and us now demanding to see Chinese company books or banning them from American finance markets. Yeah, no, I've heard some rumblings of people being a little bit worried about Iran for sure. That is a possibility. And that could definitely get out of hand. Things could get out of hand really fast. No, the only bright side to it is that would be the end of the oil price slump. That would go up pretty darn fast if we got a conflict that developed out of that. I'm hoping that's not the case, though. Definitely hoping that's not the case. We're almost on the news, but we got another Couche-Tard update. So Alimentation Couche-Tard and 7-Eleven. So ATD, they have signed a non-disclosure agreement with 7 & I Holdings, and this is all part of their potential purchase of 7-Eleven. Now, the reason they signed a non-disclosure is that, well, it means that they can then begin progress the transaction discussions. They can't do those without a non-disclosure. So this would facilitate due diligence and collaborate on plans to engage with regulators, because obviously regulators are going to be in on this big time, because this would make Couche-Tard or ATD, it would make them the biggest retail chain of corner stores pretty much in the world. So we'll have to see. Now, price-wise, we don't know. The last price that was on the table was around 47 billion USD. So at least we get a little bit of movement. I have a feeling that we'll probably know what's going to happen with this, but before the fall. I have a feeling before the fall we'll have an idea whether or not this is going to go through. But yeah, it's not. It's at least looking forward. At least looking like we could get something happening there. Now, I will mention as well, if this does go through, ATD is going to have to dilute shares to finance this. So that means if you are a ATD holder, you can expect your share prices to go down. I will just say, I moved out of my ATD stocks for that reason. Not saying that you should do your own due diligence, of course, but just keep in mind, if this goes through, we are going to be looking at share dilution. I don't know what the timetable is on that yet. So we'll definitely get more clear directive. All right, I'm just going to finish out the news. One last story. Not a good one. So GM, in their Oshawa plant, they are going to be cutting their third shift. This is, of course, all because of those tariffs. So right now they're saying that this could directly impact 700 employees who are, they're going to lose their job. And indirectly, it could cost about 2,000 job losses. So all of the suppliers of parts and things like that as well will end up laying off people as well. So we're looking at about 2,000 in total jobs that will be impacted by the GM cuts. Now, GM did say that they're going to reorient the Oshawa plant to build more trucks, basically trucks for Canadian customers. So trucks in Canada for Canadian customers. Chris Woe, who is the Unifor plant chairperson, definitely not very happy with any of this news. And he says that he has claimed that the workers need federal and provincial politicians to find a way to convince the U.S. administration to end the tariff war. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. But the sad side to this is that this is a move that does open the door for some of these U.S. based automakers. So GM's a U.S. based automaker, to eventually look at leaving Canada entirely. So, what can I say? Holy cow. All right. Now, just to very quickly close off the news, and then we're out of the news for the day. Coming up this following week, we got jobs data dropping in Canada on Friday. Not a lot going on in the U.S. It's pretty much a slow week. Pretty much a slow week down there news wise. So, well, yeah. What can I say? What can I say? All right, that's the news. All right, we can go back to regular view. All right, Cowboy says, work out what Canada owes Alberta for how 40 plus years of equalization waste. Yeah, that could be. Honestly, I don't think Alberta would even have a chance of getting back pay for everything. Now, what they could argue is with pensions. Now, they could argue with, this amount of the Canada pension plan would belong to Alberta. But yeah, they're never going to get back pay for like equalization payments. JJ says, I missed the beginning. Did you cover Damien Krukuk and PP getting a seat? Yes. That was very early on. Let's see. The feds own 4 bases and 2 national parks in Alberta. That is the main points to discuss in the divorce. Yeah, there's like I said, there would be a lot of stuff. Everything just from system. Also, you'd have to discuss currency. Alberta would have to look at, is Alberta still going to use Canada's currency? Or, well, more likely if Alberta separates and the U.S. gobbled them up, they'd then be using the U.S. currency. But yeah, there's a lot of things. Like, I still don't think it's going to happen. Feel free to change my mind, but I don't think it's going to happen. And we'll have to see. We'll have to see once we get there. We'll have to see for sure. What can I say? All right. Let me pull up. This is the Discord. But by the way, guys, we do have a Discord. So if you want to have a place to just chat and ask questions and stuff like that, I'll put the link here in the chat. So anytime, guys, if you guys want a link for something, let me know, and I can always put it in. So right now I've got the Discord one. So by typing that in, the Nightbot will give us the Discord link. So, and any of you can type that in at any time. You can type in !Discord. We also have, I added this one as well, ! I also added Blossom. I'm going to put all of the affiliate links in that in, but I did add Blossom before the stream started. So that one there will also give you the link to get over there to Blossom. So, which is kind of cool. Speaking of Blossom, whoops. Guess I have to be in the right screen here. So this over here, this is the desktop version of Blossom. It is still in a beta. Now, once it is out of beta, and I believe the end of May is supposed to be when it's completely out of beta, you will be able to use that link that I gave you. You'll be able to sign up through the desktop, because I had a few people ask me about saying, I want to sign up to Blossom, but I don't want to use my phone and I don't have an iPad. I'm like, okay. So I talked to Brandon Beavis earlier in the week, and he assured me you will be able to, once this is fully live, you'll be able to sign up through the link should be let you do it through this, which is great, which is fantastic. One of the things I will point out in here, as you can see, this is my profile in here, and if you go in and take a look, this here's the 0 to 100K challenge. So it is all in here. So this here is everything, and I update it as I go. So each month it'll get updated. So not too shabby, not too shabby. And you can look at anybody's, like let's look at Canadian in a t-shirt. There we go. There we go. There's his he has like a lot of stocks. Look at this. He's got quite a few in there. Very, very interesting. Oh, well, he's also got crypto in there too. Actually, we looked at his before. But yeah, no, it is fantastic. Now, if you use the link I just dropped in the chat and you sign up for the Blossom, when you get over there, follow me. Follow me, because I don't look at my feed. Like, I don't look at the normal feed in Blossom. I look at this feed right here. The notification feeds. Now, because it's a notification feed, people I follow show up in it. So, I don't know if any of you are in here right now. Maybe. Let's take a look here. There's Jules, Glamour. Let's see. Oh, Ebenezer followed me. I just do a, let's follow Ebenezer back. Come on. There we go. There we go. I followed Ebenezer back. But yeah, I tend to go through here, and I do like to reply on different things. Enid, I see Enid in here a lot. So I don't know if Enid is in the chat right now, but she, you guys, everybody knows Enid. But yeah, it's oh, look right here. Guys, you guys know King-A-Day. Here we go. So yeah, Wealthsimple joint RESP account opening. Here we go. A little article from King-A-Day. Love it, love it, love it. I gotta quickly heart it. But yeah, that's what I do. I like to go in there. I check those. So if you're following me, I'll follow you back, and then I'll see you in your feed. I'll throw in my comment here and there. I like it. I like it. The other thing I was going to mention too, a couple people have done this already, but if you want me to review your portfolio, I have no problem doing that on the air, but I will do it through Blossom. So what that means is, if you follow me, I follow you back, you have to hook up your portfolio to here. Now, you got a couple of options, and we've mentioned this before. Some people are like, I'm concerned about giving them access to my broker. I don't want to do it. That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to. I mean, it is secure. I have full faith in it. But if you, one of the options that you have is that you can actually manually enter in your thing. So you basically, and I don't know if it works yet or not. Let me take a look. I don't think it wasn't set up last time I looked. No, it's not set up yet. But yeah, you'd come in, you'd edit. You can actually manually enter in your portfolio. Like, I have to do that because, the challenge is in National Bank, and they don't have access to National Bank's API. So, but yeah, you can manually just hook it up. Now, with you guys, right now with here, you'll see dollar values here. That's because we're inside mine. So you'll see your own dollar values, but when you look at somebody else's, and let's do it. Let's look at this person here. This is Scott. Scott, I'm not sure. I don't know if I know who Scott is, but anyway, I'm following Scott. And you'll notice here his portfolio on the side, and you'll see percentages. So yeah, it'll just use percentages for you guys. Like if you're looking at somebody else's, so nobody can see how much money you have. And quite honestly, it's none of their business, right? So anyway, that's Blossom. Just something I wanted to point out while we're here. All right, let's see what you guys got going here. All right, can you show how you would search for information such as free cash flow, average interest rate for companies, and EBITDA versus net income for companies like BCE? I mean, there's a lot of ways you can do it. Actually, here's a very simple way. I better bring this back up again. We'll go to a very easy, we'll go to like Yahoo. You can go to Yahoo, and you can get most of this information in Yahoo. So BCE, let's see here, BCE.to. All right, so I'll show you we'll give you a quick overview. So with Yahoo Finance, so on your front page, you got your very basic stuff. So this is basically like your surface data. So, you've got, for example, you got your market cap, you got your beta. Look at that, 0.57. That's not too shabby. Now, price to earnings ratio, look at that, 164. Holy cow. Earnings per share, they're still in the positive, so you got to like that. And then if you scroll a little bit further down, some people don't realize there's more stuff down below. This is where you get a few valuation stuff. So, for example, the trailing PE, PEG ratio, if they have it, price to sales, price to book, your total debt to equity. So, at 233.32, their total cash, so 101.97 billion. Up here, you can get your revenue, return on equity. That's low, 1.98. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. And let's see. Oh, I just grabbed the other coffee. I have two coffee cups here. Like I have this one here because it's the buy the dip cup. I also fill this one up about half as well, just in case I run out. Depends on how thirsty I am, right? All right, so that's a little bit of data. Now, you've also got, you can go over here on the tab and there's statistics. So this is another area which I really like in here because it's going to give you a bit more information. So first of all, this is some of your valuation again. So here is your EBITDA right in here. And you can look, right now we're on the quarterly. You can also go to monthly or annually. Although, can you actually go there? No, you actually have to pay now. Oh, wow. Good move. Good move, Yahoo. Before you used to be able to see those for free, but now it looks like they want you to subscribe to see that. Historical data. Actually, let me finish this here. So if you go below the valuation, you got a whole bunch of really good information in here as well. So for example, in here, this is where you have profit margins in here. The EBIT, once again, it is in here as well. So you can sort of see that. Down towards the bottom here, this is where you can see a bit more on the debt. So you can actually see what the debt is. So 40.5 billion there. There's their cash. There's their operating cash flow in here. There's their leveraged free cash flow down in here. So you can get a little bit of that data there. This is where you can get your payout ratio. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Their payout ratio, 2,216.67%. Boy, is that dividend sustainable? I would say not. I would say not. Even this, like you can even see the last time they did a split was back in 1997, a 2-to-1. But now this is just this. Now you can also come down here and go into financials. And financial is going to really start breaking things down for you. You can get the revenue, for example, the cost of that revenue, pre-tax, taxes. You get pretty much everything. You get here, down here's EBIT. There's the EBITDA once again. Now you can go to, you've got the income, you've got the balance sheet, and you can go to the cash flow. Now the cash flow will give you a better idea. So for example, you can see their operating cash flow, investing, financing, end cash. So you get all of this down here. So this is just something you can get almost everything here. I mean, it really does have a lot in here. I do like it. I like it. Like I pull a good amount of my data from here. Like when I'm doing my deep dives, I will use Yahoo Finance. I'll also use TMX. I'll also use simply wall.st. Those tend to be the big ones. I also use their own websites as well. So, and I will go through their quarterlies as well. So I use a combination of all of this. I'll put it all together. All right. Paul says, let's pull me back up onto the stage. Don't Chinese EVs have to pass Canadian regulations and crash safety? As far as I know, I would assume that they do. I've never looked directly at that, but I can't see why they wouldn't. Were you ever able to get Quest Trade going? No, I was not. So Um, I'm still gonna try. I'm still gonna try, even though I've lost a lot of faith in my experience with them thus far. But every so often, I get somebody asking me for my Quest Trade affiliate code, and I'm like, I don't got one. They won't let me in. The door's locked. Uh, they left me in the backyard. So yeah, I have to. I'll try again. I'll try again. Paul says, Cowboy, I moved all of my share account to Quest Trade. Best features, instant fractional share, buy, sell more than one TFSA. And of course, the monthly transfer rewards. Yeah, I like, and I do like the idea of having multiple TFSAs. Even though for most people, you don't really need it, but sometimes you might have one where you say, okay, well, this money, I'm earmarking it for something. I'm using the TFSA to hold it. So that could make sense. Candace, are those Quest Trade transfer rewards taxable or just a tax-free promo? No, they're taxable. They're taxable. It's considered income. Jim says, I use Yahoo Finance so I can keep an eye on my portfolio. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was saying. Yahoo Finance is really good. You know, I wouldn't go as far as getting the paid feature. Like when it comes to paid, whether you want to subscribe to something like Yahoo Finance Pro or that, normally I say if you got three or a couple of different sites, you can usually get all of that information. So things that they paywall on one, you can find on another. Unless you don't care. Sometimes for convenience, somebody's like, you know what? I love Yahoo Finance. I want access to the extra stuff. Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, let me take a look here. I don't know how much. How much is it? Wow, that's pretty pricey. So $11.95 a month. Wow, yeah. And you get a couple of extra things here. I don't know. It's like I said, I can get all of that information through a few different sites. So I'm not going to, oh, wait a minute. I am not sharing the page anymore. There we go. I was just looking at it right here. So $11.95 a month. That's crazy. When you can get the stuff elsewhere for free. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of, everybody and their dog wants you to subscribe, but save your subscription dollar for something that's going to give you value for sure. Cowboy, my transfer from Wealthsimple is placed into their checking account, which I had to join or forfeit the payment. Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of one of those weird situations. Let's see. I like tip ranks, but it limits the lookups per day. Yeah, absolutely. And like even with Simply Wall Street or simply wall.st, they allow you, I think it's 5. I think you get 5 free lookups a month. But here's the thing. If you just use different email addresses, if you just get a couple profiles, you can go in and get 5 on each of them. So you can pretty much, get as many as you need, really. Because I know the month, so for example, when the banks drop their earnings, I have to go into all 5 of the banks. Oh, actually 6. So I absolutely have to use a couple of different email addresses for that. Vic is in the house, late but here. Still hit like forced. There we go. Love it. Try to pay. Well, I don't want to try to pay. I don't want to try to pay at all. Because and this is the funny thing, and I'll admit a lot of subscription services, this is where they make money, is that you may just need them temporarily. So you sign up for that first month, you do what you need to do, and then you forget to cancel. And then, maybe 6 months down the road, you realize, oh, I've been paying $11.95 to Yahoo for the last 6 months. Then you feel like a Yahoo. It's like, nah, you just, like I said, and I would honestly, I guess, and it's one of these things, like you should go through your cards, like your credit card statements or however it is you pay every so often, and just look for some of these things, because sometimes you don't even realize that you're still paying a monthly subscription to something that you're not using. Um, and that money could go. That money could go into excuse me. Well, it can go into a fractional share and something that will pay you back. So just something to keep in mind as as things move along. So what can I say? All right, guys. If you got your last minute questions, doesn't mean we're leaving right now, but I'm gonna put that call in anyway. Get them into the chat. Get them into the chat. I'm gonna have some coffee while you guys are composing some questions. Mm. Oh, very good, very good. Ooh, and between the channel members and everybody else. So every month at the end of the month, we do the channel member live, or not channel member live stream. Well, we do, but we also do the members choice video. Now, here's kind of a cool thing. So this last month, you guys all came up with some good ideas that for me to take to the channel members, and the channel members came back and they wanted the retirement income video. I'm like, all right, let's do it. This is what they want. Well, currently on the channel, that is now the number 9. It's number 9 all time. Just and it's still got legs. So you guys did good. Channel members, pat yourselves on the back. You guys threw a banger. Threw a banger at me, and for me to put together. And of course, everybody else who came up with those ideas and voted. That was fantastic. Loved it. You guys all deserve a good shout out for that. So I loved that. Loved it. Oh, I should go back to big size now. JJ says, how do you feel on the whole Western Canada separation movement? I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. I understand why they want to do it. And I understand that Canada, I will never say we're broken, but I will say that there's improvements that need to be made. Canada should be like, if Canada was doing things right, so if we were utilizing our minerals, if we were utilizing oil and we were getting, so our pipelines, that West-East pipeline, refining all of our stuff, we would be making so much money as a nation that nobody would be squabbling. There wouldn't be squabbling over equalization payments. There wouldn't be squabbling over, well, all the money is ours. We should be rich while you guys are poor, or you are taking advantage of us, or any of that. All of that would be fine. It's like I think all of the animosity would disappear. I think we could be a lot more on a national stage. So that's what we need to have happen. Whether or not the Liberals can do it, they failed. They failed at it every time in the past. Well, both sides. In all fairness, both sides have failed. Nobody has managed to pull together this pipeline. So I'm hoping we see it this time. I'm hoping it goes through. As for separation, I would be sad. I would be legitimately sad. Like I love Alberta. I've lived in Alberta. Probably in my entire life, close to 10 years of my life was spent in Alberta. So yeah, I love Alberta. I love all of Canada. I love all of Canada. I've lived in Ontario. I've lived in Alberta. I've lived in British Columbia, and of course Nova Scotia. But I've also visited everybody else. Technically, I lived in Montreal for a month because my work at that time had put me there. So, and I do love Montreal. My favorite city in Canada is Montreal. Out of hands down. It's just the culture. So that's the thing. My French is so limited. It's crazy, but I have so much respect for Quebec, and it's one of these things. Like I would never want to see Quebec not be a distinct society, And the same idea with Alberta. Alberta's got its own distinct society. Go to rural Alberta. It's interesting. There's the people there. They have a way. It's almost like, in many ways, it's almost like parts of the United States, some of the rural southern parts of the states. There's areas in Alberta that are like that. And I'm all for it. I love it. So yeah, I would not want to see Canada separate under any circumstance. So, let's get it done. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'll say. Get it done. All right. Get Rich says, while market is going up these days from the last dip, I still have a few covered call positions in red, so I'm debating whether or not to continue building up my cash positions or DCA my still red positions. Yes. That makes me think about Timber Creek. Because Timber Creek has been that one where I know I've heard a lot of people here is like saying, as soon as it's back in the green, I'm selling. Well, it is back in the green in the challenge. So it's going to be one of these things. I haven't decided yet. Because I do like Timber Creek. I do like them. But I'm looking at, because of what's been happening with the tariffs and stuff, I don't know if real estate is going to get the legs that I'm hoping. So I might have to get rid of one of my positions. I'm probably not going to get rid of RMAX. I'll probably keep them because it's pumping a nice dividend into the system. So that leaves me with TF and RioCan. So I might have to get rid of one of those this time around, but I'll figure that out. It's fun. It's fun. Yes. JJ says my separatist province gets way too much in equalization payments, but yet it's yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, here's the thing. If we utilized our resources, nobody would even care about the equalization payments, to be honest. Nobody would. I mean, if a province needs money, sure, here you go. We got a ton of it. There you go. You're fine. Let's see. Canadians are not allowed to sub for Yahoo. Okay, there we go. Jim has said it. Oh, we're not allowed to. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Really? Now I need to. All right. Now I need to let's do this. I have no clue what my account is. Yeah. All right. I'd have to actually set up a Yahoo account. Oops, what is that? Okay. Not Global X. All right. Also, who'd you vote for? This is a one-sided answer. Who did I vote for? Whoops. Let me bring back to full screen here. That's a good question. I will point out that my vote was pretty meaningless in this riding because I'm in McGuinty's riding. And funny thing is, I think this riding was one of the first where they called elected for the Liberals immediately. Like this riding, since is it 88? It's like crazy red. So it's a very, very red riding. So I know my vote is absolutely meaningless in this riding. So I'll leave it at that. Did I vote blue? I might have, but like I said, whatever I voted for, it would not have made a difference in this riding at all. Cowboy, the facts are Canada's centralist government uses the West as a cash cow. Yeah, well, it's kind of one of those things, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, Alberta does fund a lot, no doubt. There's no doubt about it at all. However, if we open everything up and we do everything that I've been talking about in the show, nobody's going to be worried. When there's enough money going around that everybody can be happy, not to say that, and let's be real. It's not going to fix the country. It's not going to fix everything. Like, there'll still be poor people. There'll still be, people struggling. Um, but for the most part, we'll have better social supports, all of that fun stuff. And depending on what AI does. So think about it this way. People talk a lot about AI taking jobs. Eventually, AI will. No doubt about it. But imagine if we have an economic powerhouse of a country and AI starts taking over all the jobs. Well, that's a country that something like a UBI actually becomes much more feasible because you can afford it. So that's just another little thing to throw into the hat for sure. Cowboy says TF is not covered by the tax code. It showed as an interest payment taxable. Yeah. Oh yeah. No. TF is completely 100% taxable. Now, where the challenge is in a TFSA, it kind of becomes moot. But yeah, a TF is not one I would hold outside of a registered account because it is considered 100% taxable, just like a REIT. Just like a REIT. Cowboy says half provinces: BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario. Yeah. What can I say? What can I say? Yeah. But I'm gonna pull this up here for a second. Let's all right. Just because we were mentioning TF, let's bring up TF here. Yeah, like look at this. They got back up to $7 on Friday. They had a really good day. They had a pretty good day. Unlike this little dip down here, but they're still they're still down. Like normally this is a stock that's up in the, it's up usually up above $8 before all of this stuff has happened. So I still think it can get back to $8, but at $7 though, look at this. The dividend fell below 10%. It was because it was starting to look pretty big. So yeah, it really boils down to, like, it's actually interesting. Like, I'm kind of leaning, like, if I do get out of one of them, I'm almost leaning towards well, let me show you. Ryokan. You'll notice Ryokan was kind of flat. They really didn't do much. Now, Ryokan, part of the issue with Ryokan is that, and this is kind of that issue right now, they've been on a downward trend, and they did lose Hudson's Bay. So we'll have to sort of see how that's going to resolve things, but that has hurt them a little bit. They'll be fine, though, long term. They'll get new clients. It's not a big issue. It's not like Hudson's Bay was their only client. The Ryokan is very well diversified. So, I'm okay with them. I think they'll be fine. So what can we say? All right, guys, this has been another good show. I love these Sunday shows. So we are going to be, we'll be back here on Wednesday with the market close. See how things go. And we'll, of course, at that point, we'll know how that meeting went between Trump and Carney. So I would recommend watching that because I have a feeling it'll be amusing one way or the other. Until then, guys, yeah, there we go. And Rory's saying, have a good week. Have a good week. And let me just go here. I need to get back to big screen. Yeah, I'm going to absolutely have a good week. I'm going to try, get a lot of stuff going on this week, but it'll be a good one. And like I said, Tuesday or Monday for the channel members, we have, and oh, you know what? Give me 1 second here, guys. Give me one moment. I'm just pulling something up here. All right. As I was mentioning, so yeah, the channel members will be able to see that by tomorrow afternoon. And here we go. I just thought we would add one more of them. And here we go. Bang, boom. Congratulations, Ian. Yeah, and this is one of these things. Like, I know I used to, on the first month of the first Sunday of the month, I used to drop a bunch of memberships. So now I try to just sort of pepper them out a little bit. So, but there we go. Oh, JJ says, ugh, same. My vote didn't count for much either. My riding in LaSalle, Dorval, Lachine was 60% liberal for the end result. Yeah, sometimes you gotta go with you gotta go with it. You gotta go with it. All right. No, it's not me. Thank the algorithm. The algorithm. I never know what the algorithm's going to do. It just does its own thing. But yep, it was you this time. It was you. Absolutely. All right, guys, I'm going to bid you a fond farewell for today. We'll see you guys again on Wednesday. I can't wait. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day. I hope it's sunny and warm where you are. Take care, everyone. Bye.